Hey Kevin, Pam Rogers here from my back deck. I promised you some information on investing in Silicon Valley and abroad, and I just wanted to follow up on the information I promised. I want to start on the broad sense. When people ask me whether investing in real estate is a great idea, I always ask them why. What are you trying to achieve? So on a really broad sense, and then I'll get into specifics on geographies. Typically speaking, single family homes have a greater appreciation and multifamily homes have higher cash flow. It's very difficult, not impossible, but very difficult to have appreciation and cash flow. They tend to be different goals. A fix and flip or a buy and hold, very different goals. And so depending on what your strategy is in getting into the market would determine what direction I were to steer you in and what areas to be most successful. In Silicon Valley, which is the heart of Google and Facebook and Apple, my office is right in the middle of all of them, and I've been in the Bay Area since 1972. So that either makes me knowledgeable or old, I don't know, maybe both. Silicon Valley is made up of some incredibly wealthy communities, cities or towns. San Jose has 9 suburbs. They are all microclimates and are very different in terms of demographics, socioeconomics, the cost of housing, why people buy into these areas. Schools are super important to many buyers. We have seen the international international buyer dramatically change the footprint of real estate in Silicon Valley. We have now seen in the heart, in Santa Clara, Sunnyvale, Cupertino, some of those areas, over 50% international buyers in the area. With each different buyer, they have different priorities. Cupertino has the best schools in all of California. So depending on what your strategy is would determine where I steer you and how I guide you. We've seen double-digit growth over the last 2 to 3 years. We've actually seen 20 to 30% year-over-year growth in some of these hot markets. To give you a broad perspective, in a slower market, the inventory of single-family homes in Santa Clara County was 5,600 to 5,800. In January through March of last year, 2018, we were down to under 225 single-family homes. So real estate is driven entirely by supply and demand. And what factors influence that? The economy, certainly, the psychology of how people feel about the economy, but the number one thing that we've seen driving this are interest rates. So as interest rates for loans have gone down, more and more buyers can afford to buy a home and have gotten into the market. As interest rates rise, buyers can afford less home. It's better to rent. And so you see the buyer interest and the supply of homes start to increase as interest rates increase. So historically, over 50, 60 years, you can see a 6 to 8% appreciation in Santa Clara County. That's why the last couple of years with a 25, 30%, it's been insanity. But the security of why Silicon Valley is such a remarkable real estate environment to buy in, I look for stability and multiple factors that will insulate the investor from the ups and downs in the economy. So one of the things that makes, or let me say a few things, the factors that contribute to why Silicon Valley is such a smart market and why it's performed well and will continue to perform well. Clearly the weather, so the climate in California is very, very desirable. We have a couple markets in Silicon Valley, high tech, Apple, Facebook, Google, to name a few. They're all headquartered here. And even as products change, the companies tend to innovate and they change their products. We are incredibly innovative. So we not only have high tech, we have the high tech hub of the world, but in San Mateo County, just 15 minutes up the peninsula, it's the hub of biotech. So the Genentech and many companies that are on the cutting edge of biotech. So those innovate as well. The other factors that contribute, we have colleges here. You have Berkeley, Stanford, University of Santa Clara. You also have San Jose and San Francisco and a few community colleges. But you have 3 of the top colleges in the country here as well. So between the climate, the diverse economy, the colleges, California will continue to be an amazing site for investors. We may not see 25 or 30% increase in a year, but certainly since real estate is driven by supply and demand, there's only so much land. And this is why land in California is so expensive and desirable. It will always continue to be very attractive to investors. So now we have to decide, do you buy single family homes in luxury markets? And when I say a luxury market, we have markets like Palo Alto, Los Altos, Woodside, Atherton, that are $1,500 to $2,000 a square foot. Palo Alto is the home of Stanford University, and it happens to be where Facebook is, which is Menlo Park, right adjacent. So as Facebook grows, employees need housing. So that area of single family homes. If your investors have enough cash to buy a $4, $5, $8 million home and hold on to it, you will not positive cash flow, but the rents will be in the $8,000 to $12,000 a month range on these higher end luxury homes. And if you hold on to it for 10 years, you could anticipate a 6 to 8% average appreciation over that time. We have businesses on the other end. We have wineries, retail and commercial centers that also are attractive. We had a Chinese investor come in and bought an underutilized shopping center right in the heart of Cupertino, next to the new Apple campus. $400 million that one of my colleagues negotiated and brokered the deal and is turning it into a really beautiful new shopping center. So the investment opportunities are endless. I'm happy to speak with you or any of your investment partners coming into Silicon Valley. And I haven't been to China yet, so if you want me to go out and visit with some of your folks, I'm happy to do that. There's a lot of money to be made. I believe it's a very, very secure investment, whether you're coming in on the low end of 3 to 4 million, or you have tens of millions or 100 million or more to invest in our area. There's absolutely lots of upside, and I look forward to working with you and anyone that you'd like to put me in contact with.